This is just a quick photo editing tutorial for the web design class. If you've had DI 1 and 2 or really any kind of experience with this stuff, you really don't need to watch this. But if you're coming in with like absolutely nothing, this is just a quick way of like take a photo and make quick edits and bang it out again. Okay, so I'm just going to look at these here. So I have this portrait here, I have this one, and I have this one. I'm going to use this one as an example. This would probably be better. I might try and use both. The reason why I'm going to use this is that, if you remember before, I said you have to use either a JPEG, GIF, or PNG. This is a TIFF, but let's say I wanted to use this on my site. This won't work because it's a TIFF. I can't use that. So I'm just going to show you how to use Photoshop, just basically convert it and crop it and adjust it. All right, so I'm going to open this up, and we'll just go ahead and hit open. Okay, and I'm just going to navigate to where that is. So I think it was like Cone Biography, Images, and here it is, Cone 02 TIFF. Okay. So I got this illustration, and it looks like this, and that's fine. Okay. First things first, what I want to do, and this is what you should do every time. I'm going to open up my other one too. Open. Let's open up this too, because this might be better. Maybe I'll just use this as an example actually instead. I'll show you what I mean with the other one. Okay, so first thing you should do when you're doing, when you first open up the picture, first thing you want to do is always crop it, okay? And that just means you're going to take the picture and you're just going to cut it closer to what the subject matter. So this isn't terrible, but there's a little bit of negative space in here, so if I wanted to make it a little bit tighter, I go over here to the crop tool, okay? It might be underneath, there might be one of these other ones on, but it's the crop tool that I want. Like it might be this. You just have to hold it down and go to the crop tool. And basically you can click and drag, or it'll automatically have this, and you just grab the corners. So let's say I just want to make this a little bit tighter, so it's a little bit more of my face and a little less of everything else, like that. And then once I'm happy with it, I would just hit enter. Also, if the photo's crooked or something, you can click the straighten, and you can use, like, see this sign back here? I can click and drag, and that will then use that as the line. Now, obviously, that I don't know what's going on, but it makes me look kind of crooked-ish. I don't know. We'll leave it. I can do that to kind of straighten it, but you see this one then looks kind of crooked. Like if I go with this, we'll go with that. I think it's just a point perspective. But anyway, you can straighten it with that. But once you're happy with it and you know it, you just click on this little checkbox, and boom, now it cropped it. Okay, so that's the new picture. It's like you just took scissors and cut off the edges. Okay, that's cropping. Now the next thing you may want to do after you've cropped it is just to make sure the actual picture size isn't like gigantic. So I'm just going to go to image, and we're just going to go to image size. Okay. And so right now its original size is 88 by 1094. Now you can switch this. It might be on percentages, it might be on inches, right? And it's saying inches based off a pixel. So if you took this 300 times 2.96, you'll end up with 8. I don't want to do the math. It has these other options. Just leave it on pixels because we're working digitally. Nothing's gonna go, like, we're not printing anything. So anyway, you can check the size here to see how big you want it. So if you look, 1094 is fine, but if I'm looking for something to be, smaller, I might try to adjust this. So you could take one or the other. So let's just take this one, and I'll say, let's make it 540. Okay, and it looks like, there we go. So make sure this is on. I thought that was on. Let's try that again, 540, and then it'll automatically scale the other one. So now it's going to be 540 by 438. Okay. And I'll hit OK, and it just makes the picture smaller, like there's physically less pixels. So now the size and everything's good, and you could write those numbers down so that when you bring it into your website, you make sure you got the same thing. Those are the two most important things you honestly are going to really need to do. Now, there might be other things you want to do where you want to just generally adjust the picture. So to do that, you can just go to Image, Adjustments, and there's all these here, okay? And they do basically what they suggest. There's brightness, contrast. There's hue saturation. These are like the simplest of them. Okay, so I'm just going to use these ones. There's other ones that are better, but they're more complicated. So I'll take the brightness contrast, and let's say we just make a little more contrast here, and we'll just take bright and make it a little more bright, and yay. And then I'll do another image adjustment, and then I'm going to do hue saturation, and I can saturate the picture a little bit more and push the hue a little bit into a different direction. If I decide that it's a little too pink, so I'm going to go that way a little bit, maybe saturate a touch more. And then also light to darkness, and hit OK. And if I was happy with that, I'm trying to think what else we'd want to do. So let's say we're happy with that, and I'm like, yay, that looks great. You would just do File, Save As, okay? And then save it to your Images folder. And you want to save it as probably a JPEG if it's like a photo like this, okay? So where's JPEG? JPEG, PNG, or where's the GIF? Is GIF even an option in this one? I think you have to export to get GIF. So I'm just going to keep it as a JPEG like that, and you would just hit save. And in this case, there's already one called portrait, like I'm saving over top of it, and I'll say yeah, okay? And hit okay. All right, so that's one thing. Now, let's say you got a picture like this. First thing, again, you're going to want to do is crop it. So if you look, there's a lot more picture there than I need. So I'm going to take this, put this over this way, and take this, kind of put this over this way, and I'll take the top, and I'll cut this down, right? And I'll take the bottom and kind of cut that up, and then I'll hit enter, okay? So now I got these two things here. Good. Now, let's say on top of it, I could do the other things like I did before, but let's say what I want to do is just get rid of this white. I could do it a couple of ways. I can hold this down. You'll see we have a quick selection tool, and we have a magic wand tool. Let's try the quick selection tool. Click it in here. Now I'm going to click and drag, and then all of a sudden you see it'll grab more. And what they call that is marching ants. I can click and drag, and you can see basically it's got all the way around it. Now make sure that this is not locked. They might show a lock here and say like background. Just make sure you unlock it. You might have to double click on it, and let's see. You might have to double click on it. It'll say background. You say whatever. And then when I'm done with that, I can hit delete, and then I'll just hit Control D to clear my selection. And now what you'll see is this pattern in here. This means that it's transparent. Okay. So now I could use that. But let's say I just want to use this guy. So I'm just gonna crop. Oops. I'm just gonna crop. Oh, it's not really giving me. Okay. I'm just gonna crop this guy. Let's say I just wanted to use him as like a button, okay? So I'm not gonna hit enter. All right, so now I got this guy, and that looks fine. What I'd want to do next is just File, and Save As. And in this case, it's got transparency. So I don't want to use a GIF. And again, it was at TIFF originally, which also supports transparency, although there wasn't any in this particular case. So I want to save this as a PNG. So I'm just going to go over here, and we're going to save it as a PNG. It's Dynamite. Where are you? PNG. All right, and just make sure it doesn't have that .tiff on there. And I'll say like cone icon. Okay. No spaces in between words. All right. Hit OK. Oh, I did open? I meant to save. Sorry. Save as. That was weird. I was wondering why it looked like that. PNG. And then I'm just going to call it cone icon. Oops, cone icon. Like that. And I'll just make sure I save this images. And hit save. And hit OK. And now when I bring that in, this part will be missing. And so it'll just have the background behind it. Okay. So that's good if you want to make like a button or something like that. Those are really probably the two most likely scenarios that you're going to have. But that's just basic photo editing. It obviously gets much more complicated. There's all sorts of buttons and things that you can do to make really neat stuff. But if you're interested in that, and if you want to be a web designer, I would definitely suggest taking digital imaging. You would need that in order to create the graphics or edit stuff that's given to you. Okay? That's it.